What's good? It's your boy Jay Wise on the Ripped, Rich, and Ready for War podcast. And today I got a special guest with me, my boy Matt Branch,
What's going on, guys?
insurance broker and financial expert. You feel me? And today we're going to talk a little bit about fitness, finances, and basically just a holistic overview of just mastering yourself and mastering life. So, give yourself a quick introduction, who you are, what it is that you do.
Yeah, I'll be brief. 22 years old, so a little bit younger. So don't discredit me for that because I've been able to do a couple of things. But met Jerome on Instagram, which is the most powerful tool. Social media is the most
100%.
powerful tool. But I've been in the insurance industry for 4 years now. Been doing high ticket clients for about 2. Where I sell to corporations. I got into fitness 2020. Used to be super skinny. I know I might look skinny right now, but hey, from where I came, if you could put up a picture, you guys would be like, oh, okay, I got you. This guy's credible. But originally from Windsor, Ontario, moved closer to Toronto. Obviously hooked up with Jerome here. Talked about financing a couple of aspects, and also talked about fitness. I think a lot of our conversations always led to that and becoming the best versions of ourselves, right? So that's why we're here today, and that's a little bit about myself.
So how did you originally get into becoming an insurance broker?
Yeah, so it honestly was completely random, and I saw this guy talk about it where it's like a lot of these things in your life that you start diving into are completely random events. So I started learning about whole life insurance, and that's something that we chat about back in high school. So when I was 16, I saw Chris Crone, the realtor, it's not the realtor, the real estate investor, always talking about becoming your own banker. And so I ended up buying his course right when I was out of high school, got my first job, and learning about how to set up this is before I was a broker, and this is how you can set up whole life policies or universal life policies to build cash value and kind of create your own banking system. So I just kind of explored that. And then this guy reached out to me. It was a total pyramid scheme. And he's like, yo, come join me. And I ended up going, not into the business, but just exploring. And I'm like, boys, you guys are doing this completely wrong. And I just realized a lot of people are getting screwed over in Canada. There's not a lot of specific, specialized, tailored advice in Canada. So started posting about it before I had my license. And I'm just like, this is where you guys need to go. And then that's where I met Chris Kirkpatrick from Life 180. And I kind of went under his wing. He's pretty famous, or he's not famous. He's famous in the space for whole life and all these different things. So I reached out to him, met a guy in Toronto, and that's how I got into it. So just a bunch of little connections and just kind of looking to learn more and more about it, dive more into it. Why are rich people using life insurance of all things? It's the least sexiest thing out there, yet why are people so interested in it? And so that's where it kind of all came together.
Okay. So those are definitely topics we're going to dive deeper into: life insurance, whole life policies. But to begin, the base is always fitness, health. That's always the foundation. So tell us a little bit about your personal fitness journey.
Yeah, man. So I grew up as a fat, chubby, chunky kid. Always got made fun of. Was totally I find fat people always the funny guy. So I was the funny fat kid. So it kind of became my personality until, COVID hit, right? And we're all isolated. And I actually got skinny during COVID, but I started realizing how important health was because I saw everyone who was doing a lot in their life all had one thing in common. They're all jacked. I wanted to be like those guys. I didn't want to be the fat, rich guy. I wanted to be the fit and successful, not just wealthy, but healthy.
Yeah, checking all the boxes.
Yeah. And especially because I saw people who had money but didn't have health and they couldn't enjoy their health all the way. I want to be able to dunk on people when I'm 60. I want to still be able to be active when I'm 60 and also have and enjoy my money. So I journeyed in during COVID, 2020, and I started just going to the gym every single day, got absolutely obsessed with going to the gym. And I feel like I got a lot of beginner gains. So I got pretty beefy pretty quick. It all kind of started like that. I used to be 190 pounds at 6'5". And now I grew a bit. I'm 6'7", but 235 pounds. So a little bit beefier, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my journey, man, so far. And I'm still growing to this day.
How do you feel your fitness has impacted other areas of your life?
Okay, so I feel like if I didn't look like the way I do now, which I'm not saying I'm anywhere like crazy, like, bro, you're more jacked than me, but
Get in there.
if I didn't put on weight, if I didn't put on muscle mass, even in sales, when I went to go shake someone's hand, I wouldn't be as credible as I am now. I feel a lot more confident. I show up more appropriately, and I feel better about myself, more importantly. I'm confident about every move I make because I turned what I used to look like into what I look like now. And trust me, I'm not a supermodel, but comparing myself to what I used to be, I love it. You know, I'm like, I know I could set out on other journeys and accomplish those things.
Okay,
you know? And I'm not trying to be like, what is it called? Sunday Night Special type stuff where it's like David Goggins is like, no, like I'm not special at all. And I'm just realizing how everyone actually has the capability to do what I did and do what you do.
Yeah.
You know?
And something I always like to touch on is like Steve Jobs on his deathbed.
Right.
He said he would trade all the money he ever made if he could have his health and have more time with his family.
Yeah.
And I look at guys like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. They made billions. They had all the success.
Yeah.
And you see them right now. They're in the gym. They're working out. They're
I
trying
love
to
it.
become the best versions of themselves because even they, after the billions and the success, they realize that you got to check all the boxes.
Yeah.
It's not just about the money.
Yeah.
So,
there's still some people out there that are, you know, I don't think Elon Musk is in the gym, but I don't expect that guy to be in the gym every single day. But Jeff Bezos is crazy.
yeah, he's jacked.
He's
now.
getting crazy. He's getting
yeah.
crazy. He's I've seen some pictures of him on a yacht and you're like, well, that's not the same one that I used to research. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, man.
All right, so now let's shift the conversation into money, finance. Let's talk a little bit about crypto.
Okay.
So how did you get into crypto investing and kind of what's your position on crypto?
So obviously I wasn't like an early adopter whatsoever. I didn't get in right away. I tried to get in. I got in 2021, so that's still earlier than most. And some would say that we're still early to the whole crypto becoming centralized and everyone, you know, using it, becoming adopted. But got into in 2020, just fear of missing out. Essentially, I was like, I should just be putting away some money. Until it came around last year, I still had a portfolio just growing, and obviously we went through a big bear market until recent years now. Yeah, and I just kept $100 in there, just put it away. I was a part of a company that always talked about blockchain technology, and it had blockchain tech. We were moving into the blockchain, the insurance company, into the insurance, into the blockchain technology. And I can't talk about the company because it's against, but essentially we were trying to just integrate the tech of blockchain into life insurance. And we wanted to become the first people to do that. So that's when I got to have really great conversations with wealthy individuals about Bitcoin. And I realized the power of Bitcoin. I don't just believe in it from an investment standpoint. I believe it could solve a lot of issues that we're running into today with the debt crisis. Here's the reason. Bitcoin is digital gold. There's only so much that has been created. And that's what excites me, because if there's 21 million Bitcoin ever created, and we only have access to 11 million, there's only so many millionaires. Not every single millionaire could even own a Bitcoin, which makes it extremely valuable, but not only that, tangible. If we can use it for currency purposes and actually adopt it into our financial systems, it could be crazy. Just like before the podcast, we were talking about XRP. The value of these tokens is starting to get realized by people. 100%. And so that's why, as of last year, when no one was buying, some people were buying Bitcoin, but we were still in the dip. I kept buying because that's what the people wealthier and more successful told me to do. And oh my goodness, am I happy about it. I'm glad that I researched it. It just took some time. And I'm not the most experienced on crypto, yet I know that just my beliefs in it will make me wealthy one day. Bitcoin, most likely, we will see some crazy things in our lifetime.
Yeah, I believe in
Some
it
crazy
too.
numbers. How about you? Let me hear about
I
it.
believe in it too. So the crazy thing, the first time I ever heard of Bitcoin, I always remember this. I'll never forget it. I was in the 10th grade.
Okay.
This was like maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
And my teacher made a joke. He's like, if you had this much money, what would you do? And this guy in my math class, he
No
said,
way.
I'd invested in Bitcoin. And that always stuck to me. At the time, I didn't even know what
gosh.
Bitcoin was.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I started to hear about Bitcoin, it was probably 5 or 6 years down the road.
Yeah.
And I looked at the numbers and I looked at, like, if at that time you had really put that amount of
Yeah,
money into
yeah.
Bitcoin, you would have made millions.
Oh yeah.
So from that point on, I always felt like there was opportunity
Yeah.
there. I never went all in. I was
yeah.
always weary of it. Ethereum is really where I put money into,
Okay.
and I saw a lot of returns on Ethereum.
Right.
Like at the time when Ethereum was going crazy,
Right.
and I went through a little situation where I needed some quick cash, and I sold my
oh,
Ethereum
yeah,
right
yeah.
before it took the big dip. So I was okay with that, but
Yeah.
I always had faith in certain cryptos, especially like the utility coins,
Right.
like the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the Litecoin,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the
All the ones that
XRP.
actually have utility, actual real life
Yeah, yeah.
purposes. I love that.
But when
yeah.
it comes to like the meme coins and stuff,
Yeah.
I never really had faith
Yeah.
in those kind of things. How do you feel about the meme coins?
I think it's degenerate gambling, but I love it. I'm all for it. Like obviously, because I give financial advice to people, like when I'm off camera, not just doing educational videos. What I like to do is just put up like, this is not education. I'll go on live and just go and gamble on some meme coins. But how do I feel about it? It's total. Yeah, like I said, it's a meme. It's a meme. It's based off community. It's community driven, which is also not just gambling, because if you do find a coin that are you in Chill Guy?
I'm not. I didn't buy into it.
No, but-
I just found it funny because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm that guy,
you're-
I'm the chill guy.
yeah.
So when I heard about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
coin, it just
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always was interested in it, and then I started seeing that it
Yeah.
was doing crazy numbers.
Yeah, so it's just like, for example, I didn't get in on Chill Guy, but if you do the bro math on it, Chill Fam was next. So
Yeah,
you put a
yeah.
little bit of money. Now, if Chill Fam doesn't make it, it's like then we got Rismas. What's coming up? Christmas. Rismas is this word these kids are using. We go and buy Rismas. Like
Yeah.
just these little jokes and memes have consistency, and we could use that consistency in the community and whatever's driving it at the time to buy in low, sell high, or get screwed over. This is your fault. This is not a stable investment. It's your fault. But no matter what, at the end of the day, it's probable gambling.
Yeah, I always
Does that
like
make
to-
sense?
Yeah.
Is that the right word for it?
I always like to compare like the meme coins to like betting on sports.
Right.
So it's like it's not an investment. You shouldn't be putting your savings into any meme coins or anything.
yeah,
but
yeah.
if you have a little bit of extra disposable income
Yeah.
and you want to take a risk with it and see what it
Absolutely.
does, then
Yeah.
I do see that, there's the possibility
yeah.
there that you could put some money in and
Yeah.
you could hit or you might lose, but never put money that you're not willing to lose
Yeah.
into things like that. You feel me?
I think it's pretty cool though, because I feel like gambling's been a trend online with all
Oh,
these
for
live
sure.
streamers, and I kind of got in on it just like with I invited my friend Malcolm. He's pretty good at like predicting parlays.
Oh, you do sports betting too?
He's like the expert. So what I did is I had him in my live stream. He's betting on parlays. I'm betting on meme coins, just getting the market. And we had like 200. I mean, it's not many, but 200 people at the same time. And literally, just think about the big guys who are like TJR, like the guys who trade crazy amounts.
yeah.
People have like thousands of people watching them. They literally can control the market.
Yeah,
they
for
literally
sure.
can. That's scary though. Right. But if you just watch, and you can also set up wallets now, totally off topic, but really cool idea. But you could set up wallets that track your traders that you're watching. It's one for one. You just put Solana in and it's an automatic bot. It will do every single trade that those people are trading right now, which also screws up their trades in a way.
Yeah,
So if TJR is trading and he goes and buys low, and the coin skyrockets because everyone, like if he puts in $10 of Solana, those bots will also put in $10 of Solana, which just pumps the coin even more. So it's very unpredictable. But yeah.
Have you ever gotten into NFTs at all?
NFTs in 2021, I did, but you bought it through Solana, right? Or sorry, Ethereum. It was Ethereum at the time, and that's why Ethereum pumped and followed Bitcoin so much. I did not have man, I was so young. Like, bro, I'm still so young, but I really was just so new to money and understanding crypto that I was already doing infinite banking at the time, yet I still had no idea. Like, I didn't want to put my money in crypto at that time. I was more so of ETFs, index 500s, funds, like put your money here, set it aside, because I had no idea about entrepreneurship. I had no idea about taking risk. I had no idea about all of that. So I avoided that. But that fear of missing out drove me this bull run to realize, like, hey, there's something here. We got to hop on.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
And it's perfect that you bring that up. That transitions me right into our next point. So how do you feel about the state of the stock market right now?
Okay, here's what I think. Now that Trump, I'm just going to put my phone on. Now that Trump's in power now, I think we might go on another run, like a bull run.
For sure.
But
I mean, we already kind of seen it starting.
Absolutely. But I mean, people think, I'll tell you this, right now, every single dollar you see in the stock market is overinflated dollars, because back in March 2020, we started printing all-time amounts of fiat dollar. That fiat dollar is literally built on sand. That's from the banks coming together saying, hey, we're going to print this money, which literally comes out of thin air, which what happens? Increases the money supply, which dilutes our dollar.
Yeah.
And so these companies are running off diluted dollars, which has increased the money supply, which then also increases the price of assets. So the rich get richer. What happens to people who don't own the assets? Groceries are more expensive. Prices of everything go up. And they become poorer. So right now, to answer your question, I think we will see a bull run, but just realize that if you're not buying actual assets, tangible, Bitcoin, your altcoins and real estate, gold, silver, I don't think fiat dollars is in the next 30, 40 years. I don't think it'll exist.
Yeah. So
that's my opinion.
We've talked about before is that the stock market is definitely, there's opportunities there. And I mean, everybody who has money is investing into the stock market.
Yeah.
You should be investing into the stock market, but you should be diversifying your portfolio.
100%.
You shouldn't be having all of your dollars dependent on the market, because it's very volatile.
It's volatile and it doesn't.
Long term, long term, we don't know. Things are looking like they could be kind of shaky in the future.
Yeah. So I'll just say this. So a crypto investor, his name's Coach JV. People probably watching, they'll know him, or we could put up something on the screen. I'm not sure how this works, but Coach JV is a huge advocate for when he pulls profit from his crypto, because we're in a very strange time where people are making money in a new way, cryptocurrency. Yeah. So what he does is he trims a little fat off his profits, dumps it into high cash value life insurance. That high cash value life insurance, this is not whole life. This is in America. This is called Index Universal Life. Yeah. It comes with the floor. So you can't dip below the principal that you put in, but it has the ability to grow with the stock market, which is a cool way, because not only is he then securing his family's wealth for the rest of his life, he's securing generational wealth, because the death benefit that's attached to that will pay for his death, but on top of that, give tax-free wealth transfer down to the next generation. But that money doesn't just go to him. That money goes to his trust. The trust is important because no one can attack that trust and his assets. So that what he uses is something called the waterfall Rockefeller method. We don't have to get into that, but it goes alongside what I've taught you with whole life and cash value life insurance. And on top of that, just to kind of put things in perspective, Coach JV, huge crypto investor. Then it goes to life insurance. Life insurance, what the heck? Well, it's the asset protection that you get with life insurance. You grow your money tax-free. No one can attack it. No creditors can take it. Grows for the rest of your life, guaranteed, no market volatility. Then he takes the cash value, invests in real-world assets. Already cash value is real-world assets. He goes real estate, silver, gold, Why does he do this? Because if the global economy collapsed, which America, if it did collapse, what would happen? We need something to barter with.
Yeah.
Silver.
Commodities.
Silver.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't take the value out of silver. Silver, I can trade you this. Okay, this has always been tangible since the gold when they clipped the dollar in clipped the gold coin in Rome. Caesar was.
Yeah.
So these things you can't take away the inherent value of. And so that's why I really like talking about cash value life insurance, real estate, real things that no one can take away from you. Now, with that said, we do live in Canada, so you have to be very strategic because under martial law, the government could do whatever they want to us because apparently we don't actually own the real estate that we own. It's owned by the government and we buy the land off the government and somehow they could take it away from us.
Yeah,
so it's kind of scary. I don't like
scary
it.
stuff. Even like when the whole situation was going with the pandemic and everything, and the truckers convoy.
Yes,
we saw that
frozen bank accounts.
Bank accounts can be froze.
Yeah,
and that you're not really as in control of your assets as you think you are.
Yeah.
So it is important to have things in
cash
different
under
places.
the mattress.
Yeah,
because I'm even thinking from a cash value perspective. I'm going to think like an IBC practitioner, infinite banking practitioner. Let's say if I did have my bank account froze, I could get a check from the insurance company, but I need a place to deposit that. If my bank account's frozen, what do we do? So it's like you need to find other ways to get around it. You just need, Andrew Tate, he always talks about have 17 passports, make it impossible for them to hold you. You should be so diversified that it's impossible to like kill your freedom. It's your job to keep your freedom because the government's going to keep enclosing. That's why the Freedom Convoy was so important. It's a very important role in human history, I think, because it showed people that we have control. We just have to push back. And I'm not trying to get all like spiritual with people, but like there is definitely truth to that whole convoy thing. You realize what the government did there, freezing people's bank accounts. It was a wake-up call. Yeah. Some people didn't wake up, but some people did wake up.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the state of the Canadian dollar. I've been looking at it recently.
I saw it on your story, I think.
We're almost at the lowest point we've been in the past 5 years.
What was the other lowest point? Do you know?
68 cents. And we're at 70 cents right now. Okay. So, we're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
So have you ever looked into the Forex trading or investing in other currencies?
I haven't, but I've been around it. So yeah. How about you? Tell me about it.
Personally, I don't do Forex trading, but I like to keep some of my savings in other currencies. Okay. I'll keep some in US dollars, some pounds, some euros. And it's just like the Canadian dollar is getting very weak
compared
to the US dollar, compared to a lot of other currencies. You feel me? And I think it's good to just be diversified and not have all your money in Canadian dollars. Because, for example, I own some land in Belize, right? Mm-hmm. And I make my payments in US dollars. So I go to the bank every month and I'm sending money. And I'm starting to feel the effects of the Canadian dollar going down because every month I'm having to pay more and more money. Yeah. Even though my payments are set at a certain US price, since our dollar is going down every month, I'm realizing that, it's costing me more and more to send money. So, that's when you're in situations like that, you start to really, a lot of people don't feel the effects, but when you're in situations like that, you see it. You feel me?
That's so true. That's why it's important to have just be beating inflation, but people are saying inflation's actually at 19%, something crazy. But the government says we're at 3-4%, but actual inflation's at 19%. So that's why it's important to have Bitcoin. That's why it's important to have crypto, because that's what's going to keep up, bare minimum, going to keep up with the prices. If you want to explore, like you said, you're in real estate, you're in Belize, you're going to have to keep, I know you're developing, right? Yeah. You're developing. So you are going to see it more than ever. And that'd be scary to me because you're here right now. You're not over there. Yeah. You have to keep sending money over there. And you're going to see each and every month, probably, every time you send money, it's going to go lower and lower because that's the state of the Canadian economy. I think, okay, I don't even want to get political, but I think you can't hate. I mean, people are going to hate on Trudeau, but the problem is the people behind the government. We don't have people who understand why this is happening.
Yeah.
The reason why, the only reason, I mean, there's little other factors, but the main reason is the overprinting of money.
Yeah.
We are built on sand. That is what Nelson Nash taught us. So Nelson Nash was like, hey guys, guess what's happening? We're printing money, which is diluting the money supply. And every time we do that, what does it cause? Inflation. Well, everyone thinks inflation comes from other things, whatever it is. It really just comes down to the overprinting of the dollar, which is already built on sand. It's not even real. We took it off the gold standard. Nixon took it off the gold, right? So our dollar is backed by nothing. That's the reason. It just drives me up the wall because it's like, if people realize that, not only would it promote crypto and what Bitcoin has solved, and actually this is why Bitcoin's going to explode in XRP, is because, you know, we see people are now saying Bitcoin's the most amazing thing on the news. Before it was like Bitcoin is the worst, the most, but yeah, man, that's my opinion on that. But
and just to touch on this topic, have you been paying attention to like global politics at all and like issues with BRICS and things like that?
I've been seeing some crazy stuff, man. I've been seeing like, man, NATO and Ukraine
and like the world moving away from the US dollar.
We might be serving like World War III might come. I think the world will be moving away. I think there's going to be something crazy that we're about to see.
And I feel like with the world moving away from the US dollar, that just opens up. That's part of the reason why people are starting to embrace crypto more. You look in places like Brazil, and not Argentina, but some places in Europe, some places in Africa. Yeah. They're really starting to embrace crypto and trying to move away from the US dollar. And they're looking at, okay, where else could we keep our money? And when you look at the BRICS, like I know a lot of people aren't paying attention, but it's a bunch of these governments that are commodity based, right?
With real world assets.
And they're combating the US dollar that's just getting printed and printed and printed with actual commodities, and they're trading commodities with each other. And this is going to really impact the US dollar. This is going to impact your stocks. This is going to impact your money in the bank. So, you know, I just think it's important for people to start looking at other places, looking at, oh, where could I put some money? Maybe I could do this here or do that there. And, you know, there's other stock markets. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't look internationally. Do you invest internationally at all?
Not yet. Like I haven't got to that point, but something I've seen, and I think I want to get your take on it. Would you ever move out of Canada because of and even just out of America in total, like just get out of this place, the Western society?
100%. If I'm going to tell you the truth, the only reason I'm still here is because
money.
I make money here. And so
you have a good job.
I have a decent, I get a decent income here. So if it wasn't for that, I would probably already be gone.
Here's the thing, man. Like, I mean, you've been to these type of countries, but I went to Dominican not too long ago, and I'm just realizing, why am I in Canada?
I talk about this a lot, but we're going through a cost of living crisis and a quality of life crisis where it's very expensive and very hard to live a decent quality of life here. And you go other places and you could see that for a lot less money, you could live in a lot higher quality of life. And a lot of people aren't realizing it because feel like this is what we're stuck in.
Yeah. All these, I'll just bring it back here and then we'll go into that. But I mean, I'm not trying to, you're the host, man. But like, I think we're about to see like a new awakening in the financial system. I think we're about to see something that has never happened before. And I think we're going to see an uprise. So all this government tensions from Ukraine to the BRICS, what you're talking about, if this all does happen and something does happen to America, there's enough people in America that are, I think their heads are in the right place. Before, this wasn't all like no one really knew what conservative and right versus left was. Like, I feel like people are really realizing where people's headspace should be. And stop printing money. I'm going to keep saying that. Stop printing money. Have the government less in people's hands. Allow business owners to be business owners. Stop taking from them. Allow people to grow. Use this newfound technology and use it to its full advantage. And it's kind of scary because it's like, what happens if the government starts using this for its own good? But that's the cool thing about crypto. It's decentralized. We could, as a culture, we can choose to use Bitcoin. If the government doesn't want us to use Bitcoin, I could still use Bitcoin. You know, the government wants me to use Canadian dollars to pay some people. I use Bitcoin because, you know, the government doesn't want me using money to do certain things and to promote my brand. I could use Bitcoin. No one's regulating that yet, right? So it's just like, I really hope that's the way the world goes. Coach JV talks about it. I follow his media a lot. He mixes spirituality, fitness, becoming a man, becoming the right man with value that I don't see other people talking about. Like I see people talking about just creating wealth in general. He's talking, why are we creating wealth? How's the world moving? And how is this going to affect us spiritually, mentally, physically? And I love it.
Let's talk about the importance of financial planning and making a solid financial plan, especially for younger people like us, people in their 20s.
Yeah. So obviously I talk to younger guys on a daily basis just because I'm young. I allude to the younger generation, I think. One thing I realized about financial planning for young guys is their discipline is out the window.
100%.
They cannot save a dollar to save them. So I was just on live the other day, live right now, and we're talking about financial planning for young guys. There's a 15-year-old, we're chatting with him, and he's like, just got my first job. What do I do? The best thing to do in terms of financial planning is automating your wealth. So having a set amount come out of your account that you know that you're not going to touch, that gets invested automatically. Too many people leave it up to, you know what, I'll put $500 at the end of the week into this S&P 500 index fund. They never do it because the club comes around. You're like, let's go out with the boys. Yeah. $200 later, $100 later, Uber, you're only investing $100, right? And let's be honest, when it comes down to $100 back in their bank account, what are they going to do? They're not going to spend it putting it into an investment. They have no money. And this is why it's important. The number one rule is automate, just contribute, whatever it is, 20%, 30%, but set aside money. Now with this crypto, it's a different story because if I was going to start all over again in terms of like planning for myself, and I like speaking towards myself because I think I don't want to give broad advice out there. Yeah. But I think I would literally work as much as possible, set aside 80% of my income, take as much risk as possible in terms of maybe set aside 20% for stable investments, but the rest gets put into new cryptos, new emerging technologies, Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin would be a stable investment. But I think that's in terms of financial planning for young people, having a set aside amount that goes automated right into account, because that's going to be your retirement fund. Yeah. And then we can look into, let's start investing in business. Let's start investing into other things that grow our cash flow, right? Because cash flow is very important. But does that answer the question?
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel the same way. Me personally, I have money that comes out of my account every month, automated. Yeah. And it goes into mutual funds, stocks, and I treat it like a bill. So it's like that money has to be there to get paid or else, you know?
100%.
I don't treat it like, oh, maybe I'll put this into that. Yeah. You know, so I have my money that automatically goes into that. Mm-hmm. I'll set a little aside for crypto, a little aside to put into some other currencies. And then after making all those contributions, I put my savings into my high interest savings account. And then once money builds up in there, then I look at things like, oh, could I go make a real estate play? Could I start this business, put some money into this business, run some ads, you know? So that's how I like to treat it.
Yeah, I think another thing is going back to our inflation talk. We need to start accounting for inflation more. Yeah. You know, just saving money is not enough. You know, people think, oh, I'm just going to save money for my retirement. No, you need to invest for your retirement. Saving, these pensions are not keeping up with inflation. And if people think who work the 9 to 5, which nothing wrong with it, great way to create cash flow. If they think they're going to get by simply putting money into a pension that grows at 2 to 3%, good luck. Inflation's at all-time highs. They will not survive retirement. They're going to either have to work till they're 75 or hit the lottery. Yeah. So that's something that drives me up the wall with traditional financial planning advice. You need a new way to make income. Yeah. There's plenty of jobs where you could go get a raise, go get more income coming in, invest in cash flowing assets that, for example, this is why I like real estate. I think if you can get into real estate young, build up one property a year or one property every 2 years, 3 years, that produce not only cash flow when you retire, you could sell the house, you can use it for tax advantages, you could use it as just a store of wealth like savings that also appreciates. Think about it. If you could have bought real estate when you were in high school or just coming out of high school in Toronto, how happy would you be
We'd
right
all
now?
be rich right now.
Right. Right. So, and no one could take that away from you. You could use it as your own banking system to get back into infinite banking and all of that, right?
Yeah.
We can use the equity we built up without actually touching the appreciation of the property. And I that's why I love it. And I love things that you can borrow against. And traditional financial planners, they're always like, no one gets rich off leverage. No one gets rich leveraging, borrowing money from people. But then you also look at the guys like Chris Crone, Robert Gill. These guys are always constantly borrowing money from whether it's their cash value, equity they have in a business, equity they have in their real estate, to then go buy more cash flowing assets. That's how I think people should start structuring their life and their plan for the future. Yeah. Maybe not financial, that's not traditional financial advice. I'm pretty sure there's people on this podcast and on this live stream who are going to be like, Matt, you're going to be doing someone a disservice. Well, I'd rather them get ahead than just stay in that zone, hating their job, hating how much money they've accumulated, because it's not enough anymore to live in Canada.
Yeah.
So that's my take on finance. That's how I think people should be going about it.
The thing is, too, times change. The things that worked for our parents aren't going to work for us. We're in a new world. Yep. We're in a new system. We're living in a new economy. So we have to be doing things differently.
100%.
How do you feel about the uprise of these new fintech companies? Do you use any of them?
We'll name some.
Like the Cohos and the Neo Financials.
Well Simple, like Well Simple, like that. I made a video about Well Simple, and I also like Coho. I mean, it's really good if you take advantage of it. I think a lot of people will get it on their phone and not really take advantage. Kind of like coupons and you know, everyone's like, oh yeah, I better start saving money, and then they never actually do. But I think, you know, I've used Wealthsimple in the past. Having that money where you could see money coming in each and every single month from dividends off your wealth encourages you to save more money.
Exactly.
That's why I like Whole Life. Sorry, hit the mic. That's why I really like Whole Life, because it encourages you to save more money because you get rewarded for saving money in this account. Yeah. You get a dividend on top every single year that has been paying an amazing dividend percentage stably, and you can back your money by it. With the high interest savings accounts from, this is my opinion, this is where I answer your question. With these high interest savings account, I'll ask you this: are you taxed on the interest that you earn each year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're taxed on your money sitting in that account. Why wouldn't you just put it into a cash value of a life insurance contract that has been around for over 100 plus years, that pays a higher dividend at the end of the year, and also allows you to keep all your money growing inside a policy? Though it's not called a savings account, it's called a policy. You keep all your money growing in there, and when you want access to it, you could borrow against the value, keep all your money still growing, putting into other investments. I like that. But what I like even more is using it in combination with each other.
And me too. That's what I was going to touch on too.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm a firm believer of the infinite banking concept, the whole life concept, but I'm also a firm believer in these new fintech companies. I feel like it's the future of banking. And I feel, especially for young people, it teaches you how to build smart habits with your money, and it allows you to save and get interest on your saving, as opposed to using, you know, the traditional banks.
Yeah,
where
like, what is it? 0.1?
Yeah,
like
0.12%.
They're literally robbing you.
Yeah, they're robbing you. And I feel like these banks take advantage of you, whereas these new fintech companies are giving young people an opportunity where you could make some interest on your money. You could automate things. Mm-hmm. You could build your credit. You could build the right habits with your finances. So I feel like those could help you build a foundation.
I think so.
And then once you start building those right habits, you could look into things like the whole life insurance.
I think you're right.
Bigger things, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I would say this: if you are like a corporation who you need specific tax advantage and tax advice, you need to look at a bigger strategy than just saving in a Wealthsimple account.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, we're talking about young kids.
Yeah, we're talking about the younger generation. Absolutely. Like, I think it's an amazing way to not only convince yourself, hey, like, look at this is what my, doing a good thing of saving money has done for me over the last year or over the last month. Cause I know your dividends get deposited after
Monthly,
on the monthly. But then it also gives you some access. So the thing about it is you need to stay disciplined. It's not a forced savings plan. It's a choice. The thing about what I like about with a whole life policy, it's 100% forced. If you don't save this money and you just kind of fund the bare amount, the minimum amount, your money doesn't grow as fast. But if you fund the extra deposits, it's a forced savings plan. You have to be saving at least a little bit into it. And it teaches people to say, hey, I got to make ends meet and put money into this. Right. And that's why I kind of like it, which other people would say, oh, Matt, that's a terrible idea. But if you saw the credit card debt situation in Canada for these young guys, you would thank me. And parents will thank me down the road. Because I set up plenty of kids policies. But so if that answers your fintech question, I really do like the companies. But like I said, it's not all the glitters are gold.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know you can get high interest savings account with the bank as well.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about life insurance. A lot of, especially young people, don't ever think about life insurance.
Yep.
Even older people don't always think about life insurance. Why do you think it's important for everybody to have life insurance?
So I think it's important because whether you need it now or tomorrow, something might happen to you. And even if you're young, like you can literally bless your family so much. Even if you don't have assets yet, you can pay $10 a month to then get $200,000 tax-free sent to your family if anything were to happen to you. You can never replace a life, but having $200,000 tax-free hit your parents' bank account, I'm sure wouldn't be a terrible thing. But to answer why it's so important is because when you do start acquiring assets and have savings in your life, and you start acquiring these things that will be taxed if you were to die, having life insurance that gets paid out to you tax-free when you pass away will cover all the estate tax that people will pay on behalf of you when you're gone. So then it will cover your mortgages. If you're wealthy, you have businesses that will get transferred. These things could then, your family could keep these businesses, these assets without having to sell them, which is very important. Yeah. So to answer that question again, young people, absolutely, they don't need life insurance. I don't think they all need life insurance. I'm not talking about the infinite banking concept here. I'm talking about just straight term life insurance. They absolutely don't. But something I like to consider is, why wouldn't for $10 a day, or sorry, $10 a year, be able to or $10 a month, sorry, totally wrong. $10 a month, be able to bless your family like with $200K tax free. Why wouldn't you do that? Or just get it set up and lock in your premiums today for the rest of your life? I think it's a great win.
A lot of people, they die and they leave behind debt.
Yeah.
They leave behind a bill.
Student loans.
Yeah.
Like student loans are at all-time highs. Like, especially in America, not as much in Canada, but still, people are still going through some crazy stuff, and that gets transferred to the next generation.
Yeah.
You have to pay that.
I feel like it's a disservice to your family if you're gonna go and leave them with a bill to pay.
Yeah.
You should be leaving them with something. So I think it's always smart to have life insurance.
Yeah.
And speaking of life insurance, let's talk a little bit more about the infinite banking concept. Could you explain what the infinite banking concept is and how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's obviously like my pride and joy. I love it. I use it in my life every single day. I've been doing it for 4 years, but infinite banking really it's not a financial strategy. It's a financial concept. It's basically an idea. It's a way to take back the banking function that has been stripped from us from the central banks, right? So when you go to RBC, who gets the benefit of you keeping money in the bank? RBC does. So with infinite banking, we're able to take back the banking function when we lend money to ourselves, when we take money out of our bank, rather than actually taking from our cash, we borrow money like these banks do to us. They just borrow your money to then invest it out into mortgages for people. Well, infinite banking allows you to keep that function in your life. So I become the depositor. My money stays growing tax-free. I'm able to borrow against the value of the equity I built in my life insurance contract. I then can go put it into cash flowing assets that then I can then take a tax deduction on my taxes for the year using the interest that I'm paying on the loan. So I get the benefit of borrowing from my own money, put it into cash flowing assets, And then this is the coolest part. I get to choose when I pay that money back. And on top of that, if I ever were to pass away, my death benefit will cover the money that I've loaned out.
Yeah.
And so I get life protection, I get living benefits, and now I'm able to keep my money growing in always one or two places. My money does more for me. If I were to do this with a simple bank account, when I go and pull money to then go invest in an asset, what happens? Well, I eliminate the money growing inside my bank account, which more than likely is not growing at all. And so now I'm not saving money tax-free for the rest of my life, and I'm only growing money in one place. Infinite banking allows you to grow in multiple places. And not a lot of people talk about this, but you don't need to just do infinite banking with a whole life insurance policy. That's the traditional way. There's other ways to do infinite banking. One of those ways is using your rental property in real estate. You can borrow equity from your rental property, put it and buy another asset while keeping your equity growing inside your rental property. Infinite banking works in many ways, but it's essentially keeping money in your possession and letting it grow for the rest of your life. Because too many people don't realize the opportunity cost of spending $1.
Yeah.
If I spent $1 on this water bottle, that would, after 50 years, this could have compounded into $5,000. How many water bottles do we spend just cash in our lifetime? A lot. Yeah. So if we could spend it out of our cash value instead and borrow money to pay for things, we're not giving up the opportunity of keeping our money in our cash value.
Okay.
That's my spiel.
So to dumb it down a little bit, you're basically funding this life insurance policy. You're putting money into this bucket.
Yeah.
And now instead of taking money out of the bucket to go invest into something, you're borrowing against the money that's in the bucket.
Yeah.
So the money stays in that bucket compounding.
Yep.
While you take a loan out against it, you go invest in this asset. And then when it starts to make money, then you just pay back that loan.
Yep.
And if you don't pay back that loan,
it's simple interest. It's not like credit card debt.
Yeah.
Right? You're contractually not owed to pay that back.
Yeah.
They're taking from the death benefit prematurely.
Exactly.
And so that's why if you die, it covers the loan that you have outstanding. And so that's why wealthy people choose to use that over traditional lenders. Because let's be honest, I'm making a VSL right now, a virtual sales letter for construction business owners. There's so much inconsistent cash flow ebbs and flows where sometimes they are so broke month to month. They have to pay for employees, they have to pay for utilities, they have to pay for trucks, they have to pay for these things, and they're cash flow broke. No one's going to lend them money. They already have business loans that they have to pay. So not only with Infinite Bank, you don't have to go through a credit check. No one chooses if I could get this loan. I can take it out whenever I want without a credit check. I could use these loans to cover those bills that I need to pay to keep my business running smoothly. So it helps keep the cash flow running nice and smooth rather than going and getting money from a bank. They choose when you have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
And then what do I do with that money? Now I have to put it into another loan to pay for employees, all these things. And this is why wealthy people would choose to use their own banking system to start acquiring assets, building their business, and just keeping their cash flow stable.
Okay, and could you touch a little bit more on how to structure the infinite banking concept? Because I know personally, when I first heard guys from the States talking about, borrow against your life insurance, I thought you could just get any life insurance policy and borrow against it.
Yeah.
But it has to be specially structured in a specific way.
Yeah. So Jerome and I went through this. So essentially what you want to do, and this is for Canadian advice only, this is not for America. So it is actually slightly different. In Canada, what you want to do is go with a mutually owned insurance company. So I'm not going to mention those companies because I don't want to sound biased. You could just book a call with me, 519-564-1691. Plug myself.
Little plug.
No, I just don't want people getting screwed over. I don't want to give the wrong advice to someone and just general advice. But what will happen is if you go to a normal life insurance company, they're just going to set you up with a death benefit policy. You've probably been through it where they're like, oh, how much life insurance do you want? Oh, I want $200,000. With infinite banking, you want a maxed funded PUA policy. So PUA means paid up additions. That's little packets of insurance that is stacked on top of each other that grows to grow the death benefit. So why do we want to grow the death benefit? Well, the quicker we can grow the death benefit, the faster the cash value has to catch up. So remember in our meetings, we had when I talked about the contractual guarantee between you and the insurance company.
Yeah.
The reason why the policy grows is not only dividends. The dividend is the cherry on top. It's the contractual guarantee between you and the insurance company that they'll grow your cash value to equal your death benefit by the time you turn 100. So your policy has a longer time to grow than someone who's 50 years old. And so that's how you want it to be structured. You want to be structuring the paid up additions, which is not the base cost. It's not that face amount that you go to and you buy the $100,000 in death benefit. It's the accelerated deposit option. It's the deposit option that you could put in extra money on top of the cost of insurance that will then grow and save you, grows your savings component of the policy.
Okay. And could you give a little quick explanation of what a mutually owned insurance company is? Because you can't just go to your bank
and
get an insurance policy and do this.
So, for example, we'll talk about a public corporation. Everyone, when you go on a stock exchange, you can buy RBC, you could buy TD. Those are publicly traded companies. A mutually owned insurance company or mutually owned company in general, the people who buy the products are the policy holders. And so when you buy the product, a portion of those funds goes into a pot. And so everyone's contributing who have bought a policy. And so you as a shareholder, because you are now a customer of the company, you can have a say of how the company operates. And because we're thinking so long term with these whole life insurance policies, you're thinking 100 or 50, 75 years ahead, you now have a say in how the company runs, how the company operates. And so your funds each and every year get put into a pool. And so that comes back to you in the form of dividends. So just like you'd get, in a publicly traded company, you can get dividends. The only people who get paid are the people who have actually bought stocks in the company through purchasing a policy in some way.
So in a way, using the infinite banking concept is also investing into the insurance company itself.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's cool because you are technically part shareholder of this company. And so when you pay interest back to this company, in the form of a dividend that comes back to you, you're paying yourself back. So that's a bit of a misconception in the industry. People say when you use infinite banking, you're paying yourself back. It's actually you're paying the insurance company in which you are a part shareholder. You receive a dividend back at the end of the year. And so that's how money starts flowing back to us and we become part of our own banking system essentially.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you guys want to learn more about the infinite banking concept or set it up for yourself, you already know, hit up the homie Matt.
Yeah, you don't even have to come to me. I just don't want you to get screwed over. Like, if you guys really want to learn about it, go to the Nelson Nash Institute. I mean, you could find me, IBC practitioner, on there. But I just don't want you to go to, RBC Bank or, even going to the mutually owned insurance company, just be like, I want an infinite banking policy. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, no, we don't sell infinite bank. We sell whole life policies. And then what will happen is they'll go buy a whole life policy and then it's set up for max death benefit, not cash value growth. And you need to talk to an advisor that can structure it in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now moving on to the next topic, let's talk about the importance of networking and building a solid network.
Okay. Where do we start with that?
Who are the kinds of people you should have on your team, and how could the people around you impact your success?
Okay, yeah. I mean, we become who we hang out with 100%. Sometimes you need to isolate yourself because everyone around you is just dumbasses. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Dumbasses.
Yeah.
Everyone's dumbasses sometimes. But I think social media is an amazing thing. We wouldn't be talking today if it wasn't for Instagram, right? So I think networking in today's generation starts with building a social media presence,
100%.
Getting on social media, because that will connect you with people that no way possible you would have been able to connect with. Everything I've learned with, infinite banking and the money I've made has come from social media. And social media is the number one networking platform. Social media was created for networking, yet everyone uses it as a human highlight reel.
Yeah.
So you and we were like, screw that. Let's use it for what it's meant for. We connected. We lived hours away. And look at what we're doing today. We're networking. We're growing together. We're making money together. So number one is get around people who think like you, who admire you for who you are, who literally want to boost you up. And the best way to do that is start posting content about yourself. Post what you're doing. Post how you're making money. Post about, the things that piss you off, the things that you don't like. Who cares? Just get content out there, because that's how you attract people to you. And then when you talk to them, just like we're doing today, we're like, damn, like we're alike. I want to build with this person. And this isn't my first rodeo. Like it's crazy. The butterfly effect of just posting content is the number one way to build an amazing network. And as everyone knows, your network is your net worth.
Yeah. And I'll 100% support what you're saying. You should be posting content, trying to build your presence online. So many of the connections I've made have been through little things. Like I'll be watching a podcast and I'll see somebody speaking about certain things. Like I have mentors in real estate that I've just seen them talking on a podcast one day, and I was like, hey, let me hit that guy up. And now we have a relationship. Now I'm connected to these people who are way further in the space and who have accomplished all these things, and now I could feed off of them. And just networking, reaching out, always building connections. Even in my business, I'm in the entertainment industry. Worked in the entertainment industry, started my own business, my own staffing company.
Right.
And I found that just the numbers I had in my phone turned into an opportunity to start a business, because it would be little things like somebody would hit me up and be like, hey, do you know a guy who could do this and help me out with that? And it's like, oh, now I could be the middleman and say, hey, I do know this guy who could do that. Hire him through my company. You know what I mean? So just, you never know how these relationships could turn out. So always just make connections when you meet like-minded
100%.
people who are doing the kind of things you aspire to do. Connect with them. Keep the lines of communication open, because you never know what it could turn into.
Oh man. Yeah. You just hit on so many points, but I saw this, you made me relate to a post that I saw. The guy says, you'll never be expecting to meet the person that you make millions of dollars with. It will just happen.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to plan to make all this money, but it will happen from you meeting a guy, which then you network with someone else that you met with this guy, and then you start, and then just kind of the Mandela effect, the butterfly effect happens, and out of nowhere you're like, oh, now I'm with Jerome here on a podcast. And then it takes one viral clip that makes you this much money, and then we're like, yo, why don't we post more? And that's how networking always seems to happen. So you're absolutely right.
And, I saw a post recently that said competition happens at the bottom and everybody at the top is collaborating. Like a lot of times people think, oh, if somebody else is doing the same thing I'm doing, that's my competition. But you find that anybody who has a success in any space, they're collaborating with people, they're sharing resources, they're networking, they're building community. So,
100%.
Never look at things like competition. You got to be building and collaborating, and that's what will propel you to further levels.
100%, man. 100%. What was that last? What did you ask me about before? You said networking and
what kind of people should you have on your team? Like for example, you should have relationships with an insurance broker, financial advisor.
Man.
Like what should your financial team look like?
I think having a lawyer is very important. Having someone who can give you legal advice, or if you ever get in trouble, having someone on your side. Mortgage broker, very important. Mortgage brokers can save you so much, just hassle. Like with the banks, you do not want to deal with the banks. For example, you don't pay, if you're a mortgage broker, I don't pay you. They're paid from the company they choose for you. And so if you get a good one, they save you from the hassle from going back and forth with the bank. So lawyer, mortgage broker, insurance broker, having an insurance guy, just a dedicated person. I think a financial advisor is really important as well. Like having just a go-to financial guy that you don't have to worry about your money every single day, a solid guy. And I think that's a great starting point. I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. I think, even if you want to add in a fitness coach too.
Fitness coach. That's essential.
Business
coach.
This guy.
Need mindset coaching, because everything starts with your mindset. That's the foundation of everything.
And then I noticed a lot of my mentors who are, their net worth is up past $10 million. They all have business coaches.
Mentors.
And I used to think that's crazy. I'm like, why do you have a business coach? you know business enough? You're worth $10 million. You're worth $50 million, whatever. And they're just like, because they will point out things that you can't see right now. I'm like, this is why LeBron has a coach still. This is why Kobe had a coach. This is why these people still need coaches, because it tweaks the little things and the little things add up. And I didn't realize that. And then I'm like applying that to my business. And I'm like, if these guys are spending millions of dollars each year on business coaches, why can't I invest $10,000 in my business on just mentorship? You know, and this is another thing. Who you don't hang around with is very important. Hanging around sometimes your family in the hometowns will kill you.
Your old high school friends.
I needed to get away from that, because when I'm like, man, I'm investing in this business, I'm investing in this, I'm investing in this mentorship. They're like, bro, that's a scam, bro. Don't do that. But if I didn't invest in this mentorship, I genuinely think I wouldn't be as successful as I am today. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm so much further ahead than the average Canadian. And I'm only 22.
I want to go further on that topic, but one thing I want to throw in is part of your team should be an accountant or a tax specialist.
You're right. Yeah.
Because you got to get yourself straightened out during tax season.
Man. Taxes are
crucial.
Crazy. There's always something else. The thing that stresses me out about tax is that there's always something else to learn. There's always something else to learn. So yeah, absolutely. That's why I don't give tax advice a lot. I mean, I'm not allowed. And also it's just like, I am not the person to go to, because there's always something else to learn. There's always a better way. But. For
sure. But back to the point of mentorship and coaching, I myself, I was always really weary of people who were offering mentorship and things like that. I always felt like it was scam me. I was like,
me too.
If you have success in a space, then why are you trying to sell mentorship or coaching? But then I started to, observe a lot of the people who are doing the things I aspired to do, and a lot of people who are successful. And I realized that all of them said they started by investing in mentorship or coaching. And a point I heard somebody make was like, you could go through it yourself and make 1,000 mistakes, or you could talk to the person who already made 1,000 mistakes and not have to make any. You feel me? So I've really opened up to the idea that investing in mentorship and coaching is very important.
Yeah, I mean, even so, and I'll just like, for the people who haven't done that yet, you will, if you explore that option and you start getting mentorships, there will be points of hesitation where you're like, I didn't need this exactly. I didn't need to spend the $5,000. I didn't need to spend the $2,000. But I assure you, there's something there. Even if you don't get upfront value, having someone to hold your hand just during the process, keep you locked in, keep you focused, it's extremely important. Too many times we try to do things alone. When you're going up against these mega corporations, you need a team. You need a team. The fact that people think that you could do life alone now, I'm gonna conquer this myself. It's me versus me. This is all me. This is all, like, I don't need nobody else. That whole character that people are trying to build right now in business. Think about the Tates. They have huge team. I know it's just the two brothers, but around them, they've surrounded themselves with a huge team. Think about anyone right now, honestly. You think Elon Musk runs Tesla alone? He has a huge super team around him of people smarter than him. Like, I know Elon Musk is smart. There's guys smarter than Elon Musk. This is the importance. This whole, I'm going to do this myself, character that people build is what is slowing people down. And so let's say if you were my mentor and you don't get me the data, like I want to make more money and I don't end up making that much more money. The fact that you're locking me in and I have someone to go to when, shit's hitting the fan, that is really important. That keeps you stable. That keeps you keeping going. Cause let's be honest, most times in business, it's going to suck. 90 days out of, let's say 300 days out of 365 days are going to suck in business. It's the 5 days that are absolutely glorious, but the 300 days I'd love to have, or 360 days, I'd love to have someone to hold my hand. Just be like, bro, you're good, bro. Just keep on.
Even just to keep you accountable.
You got it. Accountability is really important. So same thing with having friends that hold you accountable to who you want to be.
And not all mentors are good mentors. So make sure you always doing your research and your due diligence, and make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. and you're working with the right people, because there are some scammers out there.
Do you have any stories from that, like that you tell people? Because I have some good stories.
I have
man.
some stories. My story is like when I was younger, like say 17, 18,
Yeah.
I got a lot into the MLM space. Like
Okay.
I was getting into Forex trading, and the mentors that I was getting, they were like, it was a multi-level scheme. You know what I mean?
What was it called?
I don't even remember what it was called.
Because I feel like my one friend in high school is like, so he's like, bro, you're not gonna be successful if you don't drop out right now and do this. I think he genuinely dropped out of grade 12. He had to go back to do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was great, but he made money. Like that's the crazy thing. But anyways, go. What?
Yeah, but it was like they were talking about the Forex market, coaching, and like all these things they would do,
Yeah.
and then they were like, oh, but if you recruit 3 people, then you get it free.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
if they recruit 3 people each, then you get this much. And then it became a thing where it was like, all right, we weren't really focused on the
Right.
coaching and learning this skill. We were
Yeah.
focused on like recruiting people
Yeah.
into this system. So I feel like people should avoid anything where the focus is
MLMs.
on recruiting
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to the
Big thing in
coaching
insurance.
itself.
Yeah, it's a big thing in insurance
Big
right
thing
now.
in insurance,
So-
big thing in trading.
I hope everyone knows that like there are 3 companies in Canada that are all shouldn't say pyramid. Yeah, I could say it because I'm not going to name the companies. They're pyramid schemes. Like
I think
they're
I know the companies you're
Yeah,
talking
you
about.
don't say it because I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I mean, I met like people who are watching on my live right now. I'm always mentioning these companies because they can't pull it back. I mean, people could reward the live, but it's worth my license. Like, I just don't want people getting screwed over. But these MLMs, these pyramid schemes are screwing families over. Not only is it hurting the individual because no one wants to talk to this guy because all he talks about is recruiting and being like, do you want an opportunity? Like, no, I don't want your opportunity, John. I don't want your opportunity. Like, get out of here. But anyways, that's a huge thing in insurance right now. So do not get screwed over by these guys who are saying, I'm going to change your life. You know, there's too many people that are going to overpromise, underdeliver every single day of the week.
All right. So this is the Ripped Rich and Ready for War podcast, and it's all about teaching men how to become the best version of themselves. So in your opinion, what makes a true man?
Yeah, man. I was talking to my girlfriend about this. And she's like, Matt, you don't know what a man, like what to be a man. You don't know how to be a man yet. And I'm like, you're right. I'm still learning. Like it was a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah,
I'm not saying my girl respects me, but to be a man is to be humble and to realize that you don't have it figured out, and that you need to be humble enough to realize that the people around you also don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
And if you can go through life with a learning mentality and a developing mentality where you don't know exactly the next move, you just need to keep kind of moving forward step by step, figuring it out, and realize everyone else is doing that. That's what it takes. Because there's also, being a man, being a woman, completely different. Girls think one step ahead. Guys have to think sometimes. I mean, they don't. Trust me, there's girls who are dominating.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you notice how girls are like, live, love, laugh. Live, love, laugh. This is what I do. Guys often think 10 steps ahead. What is my 10-step vision? Not what is my 1-step vision? So I think just realizing that we're all going through this, we all don't have it figured out, and being humble enough to realize that, sometimes it's just about dialing back in and just realizing, I don't have this figured out, and being humble and being authentic and living in your true self. There's too many people trying to be people who they're not. I never try to come on here like saying that I have it all figured out, because I absolutely don't. There's too many influencers out there who are living this above life personality who, they act like their shit doesn't stink. And that just drives me up the wall. Yeah. So I never wanted to be that. If I ever do become super famous, I'm going to be as truthful as possible. Someone who I love is like Conor McGregor. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, I mean, like absolutely. He acts very cocky,
authentic.
But like, it's just, that's what he's thinking.
He's the real him,
And that's what I get out of you too. And that's why I just want to just be always truthful. And I think that's what men need to be. Yeah. That's what being a real man is. Just realize you ain't got it figured out. You ain't got it figured out.
I completely agree with that. No matter how much work you've done, there's always more work to do. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I heard a quote. There's a quote that's always stuck with me through life is that a fool thinks he's wise, but a wise man knows he's a fool. So like no matter how much you know or how
Amen.
good you think you're doing,
Yeah.
you could always learn more from somebody
100%.
else. I mean, you could be a millionaire and you could still learn something from the homeless guy on the side of the street.
So right.
So like, and there's no such thing as a perfect man. Like
No.
you'll never be perfect. You'll never be complete.
Yeah.
It's about always chasing progression and not chasing perfection.
Yeah.
Because you'll never be perfect.
Damn.
And one thing about us as men, we are goal oriented. I just recently been reading a book called The Way of the Superior Man, and it really talks about how the true essence of a man is to always be working towards something and trying to achieve a goal. And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this. This is why a lot of celebrities and a lot of successful people, when they reach their goals, they end up in having issues with their mental health and things
Kind of
because
dropping off.
you think that, oh, once I get this, then I'll be happy.
Yep.
Once I get the car, I'll
Yeah.
be happy. Once I make the $1 million, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But the true essence of a man is to find your joy in the process. It's not the goal that's going to make you happy.
100%,
It's
man.
chasing that goal that's going to really fulfill you. So it should always be about, setting goals, doing all you can and enjoying the process. And then once you get there, then it's on to the next.
100%, man. And just realizing the finish line's always moving.
Yeah.
We can get in this cycle of always wanting more. I often find myself doing that. We close a deal. That's the biggest deal of my life, and I feel nothing. Just realizing that it was never closing the deal and getting the money. It was the process of getting the client and realizing, hey, this is fun. This is fun. Like I used to pray for these things that are happening in my life. Like, for example, people coming to me to buy life insurance. I always thought life insurance is like you call 500 people a day and then you bother people to get a sale. I never thought in my life people would come to me on TikTok until one day they did, because the hard work I put in paid off finally.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool. And that was the part that I realized is that was the dopamine hit, doing it, just doing it, posting these stupid videos on TikTok, these silly videos that people laugh at, get made fun of down the road. That's the excitement.
Let's talk about that too, because sometimes I feel that myself. It's like when you're starting in this journey, you're making content, you're trying to get yourself out there, and for the first while, you're not gonna see any traction, and you might feel a way like, oh, I'm trying and I'm not getting embarrassed. I look like, am I a weirdo? Like, what am I doing? So like, how do you overcome that feeling and just keep going?
Yeah, you're only wrong until you're right. So all these people are absolutely going to be right until, one day your video does take off, one of them. You have to realize that each time you post an Instagram reel, a post on TikTok, anything on social media, all it takes is one video to do extremely well to set your career up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you view it as kind of like, if you had an infinite amount of time in your life, or pulls on a slot machine, and you could pull it as many times as you want, how many times would you do that until you get successful?
Yeah.
It didn't cost you money, because that's what we have. That's the opportunity we have right now. What I'm doing, I set my phone up. What am I doing? I have an infinite amount of pulls on the slot machine right now for one of my videos to go viral. Every time I pull that slot machine, it gives me a chance to not only set myself up for financial freedom, but time freedom and location freedom. And that's what I realized back in 2022, my first viral video hit. I have not chased a lead since. I got 55,000 views. I know that's not 1 million. I know that's not 2 million. But the crazy thing is I had over 100 leads for free. Didn't cost me a dime, maybe a 1 minute video, whatever. And now I can, pass $10,000 a month in income. At that time, I would have been 20. I mean, I know that's not millions a month in income, and there's people doing more than me, but that gave me time to then think creatively, freely.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say to, if anyone's like, oh, I don't want to post, like people from my hometown are going to make fun of me. Like, yeah, absolutely. And they should. These are absolutely silly videos.
Yeah.
They're like, it's a joke, the fact that people listen to people, but this is the new age of technology. People do listen to you. You have a voice. And I think people's opinions do matter. You know, even if I had 500 followers, my opinion matters. I think I could speak facts online. But like I said, you're only wrong until one video hits.
Yeah.
And then you can literally stick the finger to all the guys who are like, you know, what are these silly videos, Matt? Okay, go look at my bank account. Like, that's what I'd say. That's what I'd say to these guys now, back in high school.
Yeah, you got to trust the process and you got to stick to it and never give up. Most people, they give up right before they see the true results. And I got this saying that I made up, actually. This is a JY's original. But people will never see the vision until it comes to fruition. Like, you can't expect people to see your vision or see what you see. Yeah. You feel me? Because they don't have the same vision as you.
Like, just stop talking kind of deal.
So like when people don't see they don't see your potential or they don't see where you're going, you shouldn't let that hold you back because they're not supposed to see it. It's your vision. You feel me? They won't see it until you make it a reality.
Yeah, and too many people say shut up about it. Like, people will be like, you know, then don't tell people about your vision. And I actually disagree with that. I think you should tell people about your vision, because if you didn't talk about your vision to me, I wouldn't be in this room with you right now.
100%.
So all these people online saying, stay down till you're up. I don't believe that. I like being like Conor McGregor. I believe in the law of attraction. I'm going to speak this into fruition. You know, before I was making $10,000 a month, I said I'm going to make $10,000 a month. Before I said I was going to be successful online, I was not successful online, but then I became successful online. It's not over leveraging yourself, like knowing what you absolutely know you can't do. But if you know you can do something, start talking about it. Start saying you're going to do something and actually put action behind it. You said to me a couple months ago, you said, "Matt, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to go on 75 hard." Brother, you look incredible, like totally different person. You are in shape. You are jacked. You can go and seriously get into a bodybuild. Like, you could go full on bodybuilding if you wanted to. If you wouldn't have said that, I don't know if that'd be the same, because it holds you accountable now. You know that, I told Matt, I don't want to be an idiot. I need to hold myself accountable.
I think that's something so major is you got to put it out there and you got to tell people your goals and what you're working towards, because if you don't, you won't hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
I always get that feeling of like, everybody knows that I'm on this journey right now. So if I miss a day, everybody's going to know. Like, I have to do it. Yeah, and it just pushes you to stay consistent.
It's a statistic, actually. So I don't know the exact statistic. It is proven that you taking progress pics, like you actually documenting your fitness journey, you actually get more gains than the person who's not.
And the thing about 75 Hard is that's actually part of the challenge is to take a daily progress pic and post it for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just inspired me to hop back on 75 hard. I did it back in 2022.
Yeah.
I only got to day like 35 when I'm like, I'm actually becoming less productive, but that's the whole point. It shows you have to kind of power through and still be productive.
100%.
I'm sure that you could have been a little bit less productive, like when you were on your, like whether it's like, bro, why do I have to go run outside? Like, why do I have to do this workout outside? I don't want to do this outside. I could just do this workout really quick, then go back to reading this book or whatever, go back to my work. So that's what I found. But now that you're saying this and I've seen your progress, this is like the butterfly effect. It's like, I'm now going to become a better person because a person I met on social media 4 months ago.
Yeah, it's about the discipline it builds too. I'm on day 74 right now. I'm going to take a couple months off, and then February, I'm going to do another 75 because I just...
Stage 2, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's just so impactful.
Right.
And the best thing I've really seen about it is I've been inspiring every person around me to do better. Like, it's crazy. I have like friends from work and stuff, like, Now we're all reading books. We're trading books.
That's so sick.
We're in the gym together, and it's like all off of just seeing me and seeing what I'm doing. People are like, "Whoa!"
You're realizing that you as a man have energy, and your life force matters.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing, because you realize how much opportunity and potential a man has, yet we lack it so much. We don't lack it. What we do is what is that word I'm looking for? What is the word? Basically, we're not accessing our full potential.
Yeah.
What is it? We're surrendering our full potential. What is that word I'm looking for? Dang it.
I know.
You know what I'm trying to say.
It's in the back there, but I know what you're trying to get at.
we're giving up. We're giving up what we could be. And I think, just to like, I'll mention this too. Guys need to stop jacking off.
Yeah, that's
Guys
a major
need to stop
thing
jacking
too.
off. It's not just physical, spiritual. When you give up this life force, Tony Robbins always talks about life force.
Yeah.
Talks about this. You as a man have so much influence in the world. Brother, dude, this is so crazy. I got to go into it real quick. Like, if my mood's off, my girl's mood's off. Like, if you have to realize, like, before I even get in the room, that's how much like energy a man has.
Yeah.
So even before she even sees me that day, she can tell. And just like even with my mom back in the day, if your mood is off and you are not dialed in and you're losing your life force to pixels on a screen, and you are, you name it, like, just watching TV all day, you're not at the peak of your potential. People will see this.
Yeah.
People would not have noticed you. Lives wouldn't have changed if you wouldn't have done this. But anyways, back to it. You as a man have so much potential in terms of what you could be doing, and you're wasting it to pixels on a screen. You have no idea who you could become because you're literally, like I said, wasting your potential.
Yeah.
And it just drives me up the wall. I wish people, young guys especially, I just wish for you guys just to stop playing with yourself.
Yeah. And that was, for me, part of my 75 hard. I mean, it's typically not part of the challenge.
Yeah.
But I added that in for myself, was that I added semen retention to the 75 days, because I feel like I don't mean to get too deep and spiritual, but like, we are beings of energy.
Absolutely.
And people feed off of each other's energy.
Yeah.
Right. And when you walk into a room, people could feel that, they feel your energy. And when you're tapping into this lower level energy, you're just putting out low level energy into the world. Right. Mm-hmm. You got to be operating on a high frequency, on a high level. Mm-hmm. And, recently I've been getting in a lot to metaphysics and things like that, and manifestation and things like that. And it's like, you gotta be that person that you want to become. You already have to be that person in order to attract that to 100%. You. You feel me?
You have to almost see it in the back of your, that's why I like listening to Meek Mill. Yeah, like, I mean, I think I said this on the last, not on this one. I said this on my last podcast. I was that, like, if you listen to the song Laws of Attraction by Meek Mill, I think that's the song's called. He's literally like, laws of attraction, you just think I'm rapping. I'm just putting in the words so I could, grab it.
And one thing that I think is crazy about Meek Mill is, like, back when he started, when he was broke and whatever, he was in the trenches back in his freestyle Dirty Braids days, he was talking about all those things that he has now. Yeah. Like, he really manifested that. Right. And you gotta see it, like, you gotta really believe that you already have it. Yeah. Just not yet.
I do. Like, I promise people will be watching this, be like, holy cow, this was Map Ranch back in the day. Yeah. And I could see people saying that. I could see the car garage. I could see the family. I could see the people around me becoming 100%. Successful. Like, I know you can as well.
Oh, yeah.
But there's people out there that can't. And it literally is one decision away from you just saying, I'm going to start trying today. And it's hard beginning to start realizing that.
There's a difference between you wanting it and truly believing that it's yours. Yeah. You can't just say, oh, I wish I had that, or in 10 years, I'd love it if it was like that.
Oh, man.
You got to have that mindset, like,
I could taste it.
It's some
days
I already got it.
Some days I can
you just don't know it yet.
Oh, some
you just got to wait and see.
That's why, man, I remember before I had the car I have outside, we used to park up back in my hometown of Kingsville. We used to park up and watch these luxury cars come by. And my friends would be like, oh my gosh, like, holy cow. I'm like, dude, 1 year I'll have that. And then I had it. And I had the same car, like literally the same car that drove by. I'm like, bro, just wait. Like, I'm not happy for, like, it almost pissed me off. Like, I was mad that my friends were almost like the viewer on a TV and I was the guy on the TV. That's how I always pictured myself. I never wanted to be like, oh my gosh, I love Andrew Tate. I love all these guys. Like, oh my gosh. I never celebrated them. I'm like, got inspired by them.
And I do the same thing. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know, like, the Anua brothers from Amsterdam. Like, sometimes I'll just sit down and watch their videos, not because I'm like a fanboy or like I'm just like, these guys are living the life that I'm gonna live in a couple years, and I just need to watch it to get myself in that headspace sometimes.
100%, man. 100%. I don't know what else to say, man. That is such a big part of my life right now, and it's actually exactly what I need to hear, because sometimes I'm like, am I a psychopath? Like, am I, or not a psychopath, but am I like, sometimes I'm predicting the future. Yeah. I'm like, I've seen this play out in my head when I
already knew I would be here.
Like that's why I think, also going back to the whole, the finish line's always moving thing. When I closed like, it was $23,000 that hit my bank account. And I mean, that people are probably like, bro, that's nothing. Like, what are you celebrating? I saw that money already in my bank account. Like, when I get rewarded for my work, my job, I feel like that money is already in there. Like, I feel like I never needed to chase it. I attracted that. That was me. That was me before that ever hit my account, you know? And like, when the Lambos come, the cool cars and whatever else that comes in life, that was just me meeting my reality. You know, I just don't have it yet.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned about manifestation is, like, whatever you chase is going to run away from you. Yeah. So rather than chasing it and trying to chase the money, you got to become the kind of person that attracts it. You got to become that person. Mm-hmm. And once you become that person, then you'll attract all those things to you. I noticed that I would be chasing things and not seeing the results and not getting anything. Yeah. But when I really started doing the self-work and I turned myself into a better version of myself, and I started trying to become the best version of myself, things started just coming to me. The money started just flowing in like from all over the place. And I was just like, what?
Bro,
like,
you can start from reading a book.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, what's this book going to do for me? Man, read 10 pages, read 3 pages, and see how the compound effects happens. Because just like, and bro, I made a video back in 2021, and everyone from my hometown, just every time I would go out, they'd be like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. But I always used to say that. I always used to, how you do one thing is how you do everything. 100%. The reason why I said that is because, for example, you wake up early, you have your whole day planned out. You go stack 1 win. Waking up is 1 win. Making your bed is a 2nd win. Now that you've done those 2 wins, you're probably now going to try to eat healthy. You go and eat healthy. What does that lead to? Well, now that I ate healthy, I feel more energy. What now am I going to do? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go stack. That's win number 4. Yeah. I've now won 4 times before most people have even gotten up. And then when the success does happen, people wonder why. Oh, it's luck. No, it's because I stack twice, triple as many wins as you do throughout the day.
And, you know, the funny enough, I use the exact same analogy, stacking wins. You wake up in the morning, you read a chapter, you already won. Yeah. You know, and I think it's a big thing, too, with, like, confidence and mental health. Yeah. Like, we're in a situation where a lot of men are going through a lot of mental health issues. Suicide numbers are at an all-time high. But one thing I always say is the reason you lack confidence is because you have nothing to be confident about. And it's just the simple truth. You're not doing enough. No. You're not doing anything. So why would you be confident? Yeah. But when you wake up in the morning and you stack wins, oh, I woke up, I read a chapter, I went for a run, I hit the gym. You look at yourself at the end of the day like, I'm winning. I won already, you know? And then the confidence just, it just comes naturally.
And then what happens next? You're like, I'm just getting started.
Yeah, what else could I do? How much further could I go?
And then you wonder why, like, Elon Musk is like, I just launched a rocket into space. And you wonder, like, hey, what else could we? Oh, let's attach a car to it.
Yeah. What's the next one?
And this is the cool thing, man. As soon as, and going back, even this is going to relate back to what we were talking about with social media. As soon as that viral video goes off, the amount of I was right hits. Oh, I was right all along. I just need this to happen. Like, it's amazing. And what happens is that 1 win turns into 2 wins, 3 wins turns into 4. Then compounding starts. And then it's effect, like, bro, you're so lucky. How you know what? People are just coming to you now. It's like, well, if I was just meeting me, I'd want to come to me too. Like, that's why people are attracted to you right now, because you're stacking wins right now.
Yeah, and people will say things like, oh, why is he so lucky? Or why does he get this? And He get that, but they don't realize that
100%.
it's not luck. It's the small wins.
Yeah.
We're getting stacked up.
Yeah.
So
Andy
that
Elliott.
now the big wins are coming.
Andy Elliott always talks about it. I relate to it so much, bro. Like, I'm always high. Not off drugs. Just my work and my craft, my knowledge just turns me on. Like, I feel like I'm always elevated, bro. Like, I wake up, when I go to the gym, I feel like a superhero. When I'm closing deals, I feel like a superhero. When I'm getting paid, I'm like, this is all like, wow, like I created this. Like, this is amazing. Like, I don't think most people relate to that. I know that you would relate to that. You know, when you get up early and no one's around, like it's early, no one's walking on the streets, and you are just taking souls, as David Goggins would say. You're just like out there doing everything no one else is doing.
Yeah.
And then when everyone's up, you're now already been working for an hour. And then you get paid or something, like, you know, you close a deal, whatever. For you, it'd be like you get a client that calls. You then stack this win before anyone's even up, and you just get high off of it. You're like, holy cow, I still have the whole day to just make shit happen. It's the most amazing feeling.
I could completely relate to that. Like, my bad. Cut that out. I lost my train of thought. What was the last thing you? I was gonna
about
say
waking up
something.
early and then stacking one win, and then like you get almost high off the work.
Yeah. So like when I started my 75 hard, I like in the first couple weeks when I saw the kind of results that I got, I didn't even believe that I could get those kind of results in that amount of time. And then after seeing that, I was like, whoa, how much further could I go? How much further could I push it? And after that, like I would wake up every day with this just burning thing inside of me that's just like, how much could I do? How much harder could I go?
Right.
Like, how far could I push this? And not just in fitness, in every area. Every day I wake up with this burning desire to just do more and go harder. And I feel like the more you do, the more it fuels that.
Yeah.
You know, so the more you win, the more you want to win.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But so where do you see yourself in your business, your finances? Like, where do you see yourself in the future, the next 2 years, next 5 years?
Yeah, I think number one, for my business, what I'm looking to do is probably adding on agents on my team. Not just everyone's, not like the MLMs that we're talking about. I'm trying to get specialists that can speak to taxes, that can speak to, I already work with like tax experts, but the goal is to now just build like a super team of people just like yourself who are driven not only physically, but mentally, spiritually. And I think the goal would be just to scale that as much as possible and duplicate myself as much as possible. Because if we could just duplicate me, I know that these guys would crush it, and I'd love to see them do that. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to be seriously taking care of my health because, bro, like I've been playing basketball a lot. I want to develop in that. Like I know like it's just rec league, whatever. Like it's nothing. I just want to continue just to dominate. Like I want to be able to, you know, like Anthony Edwards, like posterize someone. I wish I could do that. Like, but it's definitely hard for me. So that's like a giant in my life right now that I'm just like, why am I so tall yet still I feel like unathletic, like still. Yeah. So those are two things that I'm going to definitely be working on. And then long term, obviously I'm always going to be dollar cost averaging Bitcoin. And I think one day, let's say 10 years from now, 20 years from now, sell the insurance business and then get into the next venture. And that is very hard to predict. I have no idea what. Maybe not 10 years. I would probably be still in insurance, but maybe 20, 30 years from now, sell the insurance business and flip that into whatever next thing. But definitely want to keep scaling a business for the rest of my life.
So if anybody wants to find you online, where could they find you?
Yeah, More Money Matt across all platforms. If that doesn't show up yet, Matt Branch. So name's Matt Branch, and you'll find me on all platforms with More Money Matt.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is the Ripped Rich Ready for War podcast. I'm your boy Jay Wise. If you want to find out more about how you could become the best version of yourself, send me a DM on Instagram, JWiseFitness. I'll be waiting to hear from you. Peace.